Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris and her Republican counterpart Donald Trump squared off in their first ever debate on Tuesday night. Harris used much of the 1 hour and 45 minutes to provoke Trump, and he took the bait, reacting frequently to her jabs. Harris was presidential, she was fiery, and she had Trump on the ropes. This debate showed how much the US presidential election race has changed. Here are some of the key takeaways from the debate hosted by ABC News. From the beginning, Harris set the tone by walking over to Trump and offering a handshake, a symbolic gesture since Trump had skipped Biden's inauguration. She peppered her answers with remarks designed to enrage Trump, calling him weak, wrong, and reminding him that 81 million voters had rejected him in 2020. She even said, and I quote, "Clearly, he's having a hard time processing that." Trump, often visibly agitated, loudly repeated many debunked claims. He insisted that widespread voter fraud occurred in 2020 and repeated a conspiracy theory about immigrants eating pets. Harris laughed and smirked at his responses, rarely holding back. During the debate, Trump leaned into unfounded conspiracy theories. One of the most bizarre claims was about immigrants from Haiti allegedly eating people's pets in Ohio. Even when the debate's moderator, which is ABC's David Muir, pointed out that the local officials denied the claims, Trump doubled down. He simply responded with, "We'll find out." On crime, Trump argued that it had risen across the United States, contradicting FBI data showing that crime had actually declined in recent years. The debate saw sharp exchanges on the topic of abortion. Harris took a firm stance on reproductive rights, making clear the consequences of the Supreme Court's overturning of Roe v. Wade. Trump defended the decision, framing it as a great service to return the issue to the states. He inaccurately claimed that former Virginia Governor Ralph Northam supported killing babies after birth. ABC's Lindsay Davis fact-checked Trump on this, saying no state allows killing a baby after it's born. Harris highlighted stories of women unable to access care in emergency situations, countering Trump's arguments. Trump also strayed into long tangents about his campaign rallies, boasting about their size and entertainment value. Even when Harris criticized his immigration record, Trump returned to talking about the crowds at his rallies. He claimed, and I quote, "People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics." At one point, Trump fixated on a bizarre claim that migrants were eating pets. Harris let him continue without engaging much, seemingly content to let him ramble. The US Vice President used the debate to position herself as a champion for the middle class. She introduced her Opportunity Economy plan focused on tax cuts for families and small businesses. She cast Trump as a candidate who only cares about wealthy, saying, "Donald Trump has no plan for you. He's more interested in defending himself than helping the American people." She outlined her own middle-class background and made a direct appeal to voters. Trump, meanwhile, criticized the Biden-Harris economy, saying, "I have never seen a worse period of time." He called Harris a Marxist and accused her of copying his policies. He quipped, and I quote, "I was going to send her a MAGA hat." Donald Trump's big question for Kamala Harris during his closing remarks during the presidential debate was, why didn't she do it, as he tried to tie the vice president to the Biden administration. He ended his remarks by calling President Joe Biden and Harris the worst president, the worst vice president in the history of our country. Speaking during her closing remarks, Vice President Harris delivered a familiar line. She said, and I quote, "We are not going back." She said America on Tuesday night has heard two very different versions of the country, one that is focused on the future and one that is focused on the past, an attempt to take us backward. But we are not going back, she added. After closing statements, former President Donald Trump spoke for about 42 minutes and 52 seconds, while Vice President Kamala Harris spoke for about 37 minutes and 36 seconds. Meanwhile, the Harris campaign is calling for another round, while Trump's campaign tried to claim victory before the end of the debate. All in all, in the end, Harris succeeded in casting herself as an advocate for the middle class while portraying Trump as out of touch and self-absorbed. The debate ended much as it began, with Trump doubling down on debunked claims and Harris maintaining her composure.